Hi there. Welcome to the show, Catch the Pulse with Rodney. I'll be your host today. And today we're very lucky to have a guy by the name of Joe Pullin. You may remember him from a band back in the 80s called the Missiles. He used to play around the Detroit area. So please welcome Joe. Hi, Joe. How are you, sir?
Hey, I'm doing great. Happy Sunday, and it's great to be on your show.
Well, thank you, sir. I hear a lot of things about you from a good friend of ours, Charlie Block. He just talks tremendously about you. And if he likes you, you got to be tops in everybody's book.
He's a good guy, man. He's another talented musician from Detroit, and can't say enough good things about him.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about yourself, man. Where are your roots from? Actually, where did you start playing rock and roll music?
Well, I grew up in Livonia, and that's where I really started my music career. I played in just little local bands, and played to high schools and all that. And then when I graduated, I actually took off and went to LA for a bit just to see what was going on in the music scene out there. And I spent some time out there. And then when I came back, I was in a band with a guy named Harold Kataranzik, Mark Montroy, and Glenn Short. It was called Elephant. And we used to play the East Town, the Grande Ballroom, all the concert places in Detroit. Name one, we played there. And we opened up for Rod Stewart. We opened up for, you know, name a band, probably 50 different bands that everybody knows. And we were an opening band. So that was a lot of fun. And then, that's where it kind of kicked off, honestly. I kind of got used to not playing in a typical bar because there were so many concert places to play in Detroit at the time that I did concerts every weekend. I was opening up for major acts, Bob Seger and R.L. Speedwagon and just on and on and on. And it was just a blast. I mean, really, and we actually made decent money as an opening band. And we just had so much fun. We go, yeah, we just play the weekends and we do concerts. Our friends of ours were playing in bands or bars doing regular cover songs. We were doing all originals. So that's where it started, and that was all Michigan guys that I played with. And then we went down to Cleveland recording, and we had a manager named Josh Zaslov who was managing the band and trying to get us a record deal. And we went down to Cleveland recording where Joe Walsh cut his stuff or Grand Funk did their stuff, and we cut 6 songs down there. And then we had a couple of record deals on the table, and then we unfortunately had somebody in the band had a bad alcohol problem and pretty much blew our whole opportunity to get signed. And but yeah, that happens. And so then that's kind of where I started. And then I did Interface, and I used to sit in with the band playing bass, playing guitar, called the Flaming Ember. They were from Detroit. Uh, they had a bunch of hit records, My Body and Soul and Westbound Number 9 and all these kind of like R&B, Motown kind of songs. They were like a white R&B band, kind of almost like a little bit like Hall Notes. And so I used to play with them, opened up for them a bunch of times, and I actually played in their band a bunch of times.
That's what you were saying off air. How did that
Yeah.
come about? How did you meet those guys?
Well, so one of the guys, Jim Bugnell, the bass player, who was somebody that I just really learned a lot when I played bass. Him and I were good friends, and he said, Joe, he goes, you know what? Sometimes we need somebody to sit in for us, And he goes, you can play guitar and bass, and he goes, would you be up for it? And I said, heck yeah, So I used to do some concerts with them, but then they used to play the Last Chance Lounge in East Dearborn, like kind of like their home base when they weren't on tour. And it was awesome for me because they were signed to Holland Dozier Holland, and they had some big shooters behind them, and they had God probably eight hit records over the years. And so that's where that started. And actually, not long ago, probably 5 years ago, I wrote a couple songs with John Oates from Hall Notes, and I said, John, I think the Flaming Ember, if I could get these guys in the studio, should cut these songs, man. And he said, "Oh, yeah." He goes, "They were kind of a lot like us, like the white R&B band." And so I took Jerry Plunk and Joe Bucknell and the band, and we went out to Nashville, cut some songs, went to LA, and I basically was executive producer and writer on it. So I had a chance to kind of work with the boys from way back when, and yeah, I think we put out 4 or 5 songs, over the past 5 years. So they're all over the place, and yeah, so that was fun. That was fun to kind of relive that.
How about this song, "I Will Wait for You"? How did that come about?
That is really a cool story, man. So I wrote this song as a concept called "I'll Wait for You" on my acoustic, and so I said, I'm gonna do a demo of it, just a demo version. So I took my band and I got the guys in the Missiles to join me. We went down to Muscle Shoals, Alabama. I said, I want to cut it down here, and John Rapp from Seger kind of helped me get introduced to these guys because they cut old time rock and roll for Bob and wrote the songs, and Bob did a lot of stuff there. So he knew everybody. So when I walked in, I was treated extremely well. And we went down there and cut this song called "I'll Wait for You" and a few other songs. And as I was playing it, it just started coming together, really well. It's just one of those things. It was just a quick demo. I did like two takes on it. But during my session, I happened to be on the phone with Peter Frampton, and he said, "Yeah," he goes, "I'm living in Nashville now." He goes, "You should fly over here because you're only like, a 30-minute flight, and I have a studio in my house, like full blown 48 track studio." And he goes, "I'll put some guitar parts on a couple songs that you record if you want me to." I go,
Yeah, man,
immediately
please.
got a reservation, grabbed my big old 24 track tapes, and hopped on a plane. I didn't fucking. I was on my way, man. I said, "I'll
Right
be there
on.
within the next 3 or 4 hours." They go, "Oh, great!" So I, I flew to his house, right, and
Uh-huh.
he has this beautiful home in Nashville, and he has an amazing recording studio, just decked out to the nines. And so I put my tracks on. He goes, "God damn, Joe." He goes, "These are really freaking cool." So he played on "I Will Wait for You." He played the guitar on it. And then I had done a version of the Beatles, "She Loves You," the rhythm track. And he said, "Let me put a guitar in that." I know Paul and everybody, they're good friends of mine. And so I'm at his house. He's talking to Paul McCartney on the phone. He says, "You ain't going to believe this, Paul, but I'm putting a guitar part on from a guy from Detroit, man." And he goes, and Paul goes, "Oh, that's good." So it was really just kind of came together. Then I was talking to John Oates, and he says, "Hey, why don't I do background vocals on it?" So I sent him a copy of the tape, and he put the background vocals on it. And then I'm talking to a guy in London, and I said, "Yeah, I'm going to think about doing my vocal overdub and doing the mixing at Abbey Road." So everything just kept coming together, and I ended up on a plane like 3 weeks after those guys put their parts on, and I went to Abbey Road and I did my lead vocal there. And then while I was there, the engineer I knew said, "Joe, you should put some strings on this thing." And I said, "Well, I can't afford, to put a whole orchestra on it." He goes, "I'll make it happen." So all of a sudden I'm in Studio 3, which is where they do all like the James Bond movies and the orchestras and stuff. He hooked it up. All of a sudden, I found myself standing on a pulpit in front of 60 people in an orchestra, telling them about the song, and they wanted to hear about it before they put the parts down, right? And then we had a conductor from the London Symphony Orchestra, and they put these strings on. I said, "Everybody got to understand something here. I mean, I appreciate all this, but this is just a funky demo. It wasn't even supposed to be a final piece,
Right.
right?"
Oh
But
my God.
it kept morphing into something out of my control. I mean, I really was
Sure.
one thing led to another to another. So before I know it, here I am at Abbey Road. I'm in the studio and I'm with a 60-piece orchestra, just getting the chills listening to these guys. I said, I don't even need to sing on this thing. I honestly, I could just play the rhythm track. It sounds amazing. So that in a nutshell is how that happened, and it just kind of morphed, from Muscle Shoals to Frampton to Jono's, Abbey Road. Just things just kept going, and I ended up with a demo that ended up being, kind of a real special demo. But and then we just did a cheap video on it. I did do some videotaping of the London Symphony Orchestra. I go, I got to capture this. So we got a camera guy to do that for us, and then we just edited, bits and pieces that we could buy off the internet because I didn't have any budget to do a full blown kick ass video. So we bought some footage and took some shots of me here and there, and then the whole thing just came together. So that's that song, and yeah, I mean, how much fun that was. I mean, I got to tell you.
I just got to watch that video a couple days ago, and the sound is just incredible. It's just a beautiful song.
It,
I mean, it really grabs you at the heart, man. It's a beautiful song.
Yeah, and it's just a real simple thing. And we did again. Everything was done in like one or two takes. It wasn't like we sat there. Hey, let's fix this part. Let's do that part. There was no time for that. It was like I had X amount of dollars to pay for all this, and
Sure,
every
sure.
minute had to count when you're in studio.
Right on.
But yeah, and so the real thing was really when Frampton got on it, and he just said, "Hey, I'm having a blast, man." He goes, "This is so much fun. We're cutting stuff on your songs and." Yeah, which is amazing. He's a good friend. So
Are
yeah,
you guys still in touch? Are you guys still
yeah,
friends?
yeah,
That's
I am.
incredible,
Yeah, in
man.
fact, he got me one of his Peter Frampton custom guitars, a black Les Paul with gold hardwood, just the best sounding guitar I've ever had, and
Wow.
he got that for me because it's a deal he has with Gibson, where he had
Uh-huh.
signature Peter Frampton Gibson guitar.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah, yeah. So I talked to him. I talked to John Oates all the time. I talk to a lot of my friends from the different industries, like Styx, all those guys. I'm really good friends with
No
them.
kidding.
Night
Wow.
Ranger. I talk to them all the time, and yeah, so everything just kind of morphed into just the coolest thing in the world. I'm going, how lucky am I, man? I don't care if it's a big hit record or not. Just to do this is like, just I mean. And then I happened to be out in L.A. and I'm really good friends with Priscilla Presley, who's Elvis's wife, right?
Yeah, I
Her and
know.
I
You
are,
told me a little bit
we
about
became really good friends, and she goes, Joe, I want to hear your songs, man. And so one day, I was at her house. She invited me over for dinner, and she
it.
goes,
Oh
yeah,
my
send me a bunch of your
God.
songs. I love music, and I wish Elvis was alive so you could meet him. So
Oh
that
my
happened.
goodness.
How cool
Man,
is
you
that?
got a ton of people name dropping, man. I know we talked about, you said you warmed up for Rod Stewart. How did that come about?
Yeah, that was at the East Town. Yeah, back then, a guy named Bob Seger used to run the East Town, and we became friends with him. And God, we were just young teenagers. I don't even think we were even 18 at the time. And he said, "Hey, I need an opening band. I'll pay you $500. There's four of us. It's 125 a piece or whatever." And he said, "We got Rod Stewart coming in for 2 nights." He goes, "Would you guys like to open?" That was the band Elephant, and I said,
Mhm.
"Heck yeah, man!" And that's what started us getting all these gigs. Once we did that one, then we had the Grandy Ballroom. We had God, I forget all the Michigan something theater. Every concert facility back in the day with the big concerts, we automatically were able to get on a lot of the concerts. And
On the big name bills.
yeah, yeah. And then, but at some point in time, I kind of, after a few record deals that went south, and yeah, I
Mhm.
finally made the decision, said, if I don't make it as an artist, man, I gotta have a career. So I was really, really, really lucky that somebody I met along the way in the recording world, um, was somebody that I knew really well said, there's a job opportunity for a marketing manager at Harman International. And I said, I know Harman because they own AKG, Lexicon, JBL. They own like 20 audio companies. And I
Harman
go,
Kardon. Are you speaking of Harman
yeah,
Kardon?
Harman Kardon's one of them, Studer,
Wow.
Lexicon. They own 20 of the best brand names. And
Uh-huh.
so I went and I had a meeting with them, and I had gotten a business degree at Eastern, and they liked me, and they liked the fact that I had a music background. I said, "Well, is this for your pro group, where you do all the recording studio and concert products?" They go, "No, we're entering the automotive market to compete against Bose, and we got these brand names, and we want to do something with them, and we just feel like you're a guy that should be involved." I said, "Hey," I go. I've just finished my degree at college, and I'm looking to start a career in corporate America because I'm leaving the music industry. And it just worked out, right? I just landed right from the music industry in college right to working in a major corporation. And so, I knew all their brands, I knew all their technologies, from being in the music industry. And so I put a strategy together to help them go compete against Bose. And when I joined that company, the automotive division was $15 million a year. They had $8 million worth of business with Chrysler with the Infinity audio brand, and they had $7 million with Ford with the JBL audio brand. And they said, "Look at, this is nothing." It's like we know we can do what Bose is doing, right? And so I put a strategy together. Long story short, the upper management, right up to Dr. Sidney Harmon, loved it. And I joined the company, and I was there 18 years. And I moved from a marketing manager to a global vice president of marketing and product. And we knocked it out of the park. We went up to $4.5 billion during that time I was there, and from 15 million. So that was a huge growth.
Huge.
Yeah.
Wow. And
So
you live here in Michigan, or you got a couple houses? What do you do?
well, I mean, their company was in Northridge, California, so I moved out there near LA, actually Santa Monica, and I've been back and forth out there for a lot of years, living there sometimes, living in Detroit sometimes. So right now I kind of bounce back between the two. I did leave Harmon though after 18 years, but during my tenure there, one of the problems I saw, I said, you guys got all these brands, but honestly, a lot of people don't know all your brands. And I know some people in the music industry that I could probably get to kind of endorse these brands. So I started going out there. I went to Elto Reed from Seger. I went to John Oates. I went to Frampton. I went to Styx. I went to everybody I knew and said, hey, maybe there's something we can do together, on a business side, right? Now I'm in corporate America. I'm not in the rock business anymore. And they all jumped aboard, every one of them, man. And we did a whole bunch of stuff with them, marketing wise. And then while I was there at that company, they kind of let me do what I wanted to do. They said, just use your artistic license. We need to, obviously, we're a corporation. It's all about making money. And that's the bottom line. It's black and white. We want to make money. But along with that, you're the one that convinced us we should be doing stuff with our products that work well with them, such as music related things. So they said, come up with some ideas of how we tie into music. So I said, well, that's going to be easy. So I went to Mercedes.
Advertising.
Yeah, I went to Mercedes Benz. I said, hey, Mercedes Benz, there's a Rolling Stones tour. You guys should sponsor it. We'll put some money in. It could be, Mercedes Benz and Harman Kardon sponsor the Rolling Stones. We did that for 35 dates. So I met
Oh my
all the Rolling
goodness.
Stones. Yeah. Then we did the same thing with Paul McCartney with the Lexus, and they had our Mark Levinson brand. So then we did the Mark Levinson Lexus Paul McCartney tour. So I met Paul, which is here's
Wow.
two heroes I've always wanted to meet, right? I got to meet
Sure.
him. And then I went to I was in LA and I went to the Grammy Award people, and I knew people there, and I said, hey, I want Harmon to be the official sound partner of the Grammy Awards. I said, is there something we can work out? So they put a whole deal together for us. It was a few $1 million deal. And I took it back to Harmon. They said, we love the idea of being the official sound partner of the Grammy.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Reaches 250 million people.
Oh
So
my Lord.
I
Yeah,
put
man.
I went from being like the writer, singer, rocking it out on stages to being, a corporate executive, wearing a suit and tie and all that, but doing creative things, and Harmon,
Sure.
great company for me to start my career.
Have
So
you dabbled back into music at all since you got out of it? Since you're now corporate America, or do you still play occasionally, or what are you doing?
yeah, so I put the Missile Band back together. That's the new members. Actually, my son Justin plays drums. He goes, Dad, I know every one of your songs, man. He goes,
Of course.
he's a great drummer. So I got
Uh-huh.
him and a few other people, and we started playing. Like we did the Token a couple times, and some different places around here. But
Mhm.
we actually went in the studio and cut 6 songs with Charlie, actually, at his studio.
Oh, wonderful.
hmm And we're working on one right now, a song called Together. It's a kind of a heavy rock song, but it's also got a video that goes along with it, kind of like a Star Trek video, and that's with my band, The Missile. So we're actually, me and Charlie are working on putting the final visuals together on this song, and then I'm going to launch it out, in the marketplace. So the answer is yes. I've been throwing stuff out on the internet left and right on my
Right
songs,
on.
and
Right
then
on.
and then I threw the Flaming Ember stuff out there too, like 5 songs.
Yeah.
So the answer
We're
is
gonna take a break. We're gonna take a break and listen to that song. I
yeah,
will wait for you, and then we'll
awesome,
come back and we'll talk a little bit more. So stand by a second, okay?
perfect, perfect.
You guys enjoy this song. We'll be right back.
With every moment of our life we spent together, I never dreamed that you would leave. I thought our love would be around to last forever,
Okay, welcome back. That was the song "I Will Wait for You" by Joe Pullin, and we're back live with Joe. Hey, Joe, tell me a little bit about this meeting you had with Buzz Aldrin and how you met him.
Yeah, so I became involved with the Dream Foundation, which is a charity, which Priscilla Presley is the chairperson on. That's how I met her, by the way. And
Mhm.
she had a lot of different celebrities who would be part of that. And they basically are like Make a Wish, where you grant a wish to people who are dying, in this case, adults. And Buzz Aldrin was one of the guests at one of the events we went to. And him and I got talking and we became friends, right? So I said, "Hey, Buzz, I'm sponsoring Paul McCartney with Lexus, and we're going to be playing at the in L.A. at one of the big arenas there." I said, "You should come, man. I said it'd be great to have you come along." So he said, "Yeah, I'd love to come see Paul McCartney." So long story short, he came to the gig. Of course, I made sure he had VIP passes, and he was decked out to the nines, and he walked in with this like beautiful blue silky Nassau jacket. It said Nassau here, Nassau
Oh
here.
my
And
goodness!
everybody knew. They go, "God, you're the second guy to step on the moon, like 3 seconds behind, Armstrong." So I said, "You know what? I should see if I could get you to meet Paul McCartney, because he's really into space travel and astronomy. He's into that stuff big time." And he
Okay,
said, "That would be awesome." So I went to his manager and said, "Hey, I got Buzz Aldrin here, and he'd love to say hi to Paul." And so he said, "Oh God, Paul would love to meet him." And get- getting an audience with Paul's not easy. It's like high security, all that kind of crap, right? You know how. So, anyways, long story short, I'll make it quick. I walked back to the VIP area where he was at backstage, and he was sitting there talking with like 10 reporters, right, all recording him. He saw me walk in with Buzz Aldrin. In the middle of a sentence, he walked right out of that media meeting and
oh my
beeline,
goodness!
yeah, beeline over to us. And then he comes up to me and goes, "I know who you are." And he goes, "Buzz, how you doing? And what are you doing here?" And he says, "Well, Joe is a friend of mine, and he brought me." And so McCartney goes, "I want one of those Nassau jackets." So it was like general chit chat, right?
Sure,
And then
sure.
they got into a conversation about Buzz is like helping to plan the mission to Mars, right? And he's very involved because he's also a physicist beyond an astronaut.
I
And
did not know that.
yeah, oh my God, this guy's so smart, man. He gets so deep that
Wow.
at one point you just shut off. But anyways, they got talking and they hit it off really well. And so Paul said, "Where's your tickets at?" And I said, "We got pretty decent tickets." He go, "Well, you got better ones now." So he gave us some tickets that were like right, dead
Oh
center.
my goodness!
Cool thing and why this is something that's worth mentioning. So they got to meet each other, right? And that was just both of them loved each other. They're both rock stars in their own way.
Sure,
But
sure.
halfway through the concert, unbeknownst to me, there was a section in the concert where Paul is talking to the astronauts, two of them, who were floating around Earth, right?
No way,
And
really.
yeah, I didn't know this, and I'm sitting there with Buzz and Buzz, and they played the song "Good Day Sunshine,"
Uh-huh.
and he turned around to the screen on stage and was playing it to the astronauts while they're floating around in space. What the chances? And Buzz goes, "Did you plan this?" I go, I didn't even know that they're doing this, man." He goes, "Joe," he goes, "I know those two astronauts. I trained them." And I go, "Are you?
Holy mackerel.
What's the chances of that happening?" Right? So that
Wow.
was just a magnetic evening, to say the least. Everything just fell into place, right? And
Dude, you lead a just an incredible life, man. You've been blessed just unholy amounts, man. What about this automatic, the computer for president song? Tell me a little bit about that.
yeah, so I wrote this song probably 30 years ago, and this
Uh-huh.
is it right here. Computer. and and like a month ago, I said, I'm gonna dust this thing off. I go, I don't have time to re-record a kind of a newer version of it. I'm just gonna keep what
Uh-huh.
I have. And so how it came about was I was playing at Richard's Lounge, which I told you about in Livonia, and I was with my band. We were doing a sound check, and John Rapp was doing the sound at the time. And my drummer, I got done with mine, test one, two, three, that kind of crap. Make sure my microphone's working. Played my guitar. Yeah, your guitar sounds good. Then it's time for the drummer, and the drummer's sitting his cymbals, and he goes, "Okay, your drums sound good. Let's test your microphone." And the drummer at the time was Bob Mahalski from Mount Clemens, and he started talking like a computer. He's saying, "I want to be president," but in like a computer sounding voice. And
Okay.
I'm up on stage and I'm listening to him. "I want to be president." I turned around, I said, "Do that again, man." And he goes, "I want to be president." And I go, holy fuck, this is a great idea for a song. So the next day, I went and wrote this song called, and it's really a chintzy. So I got to tell you, it's not probably not my best writing in the world, but it's okay. And
Uh-huh.
then I brought in, I said, I want some background singers on it. So I brought in the girls from Seger, and we put like kind of a little effect on their voice so it sounded a little computerized. And we went to Ambience Recording Studio in Farmington Hills and cut it. And yeah, it was just like, just super cool, just an idea I had, and I made it happen, right? I mean, it's one thing to think about something, it's another thing to think about it and then do it, right? So I made that happen, and then I put it out there like a month ago, and then actually I've gotten a bunch of hits on it already from people. It's kind of cool. I mean, I wish I
Is it out on YouTube
yeah,
and social media?
on YouTube, it's on Spotify, it's on probably Facebook, it's on yeah, pretty much all those media venues, you know. And
That
I
picture you just showed me, man, that would make a really cool album cover.
yeah, yeah. I mean, look how old this is. Okay, look at this
I
computer,
know.
right? I mean,
That's what I'm
seriously.
saying.
Yeah,
That's
and it's red, white, and blue, right? And
yes,
you know,
sir.
he's not the whole concept behind this guy is he's not a Republican, he's not a Democrat. He's the new guy on the block, and
Right
the
on.
whole concept behind him is just like the Democrats and Republic. He promises everything. I'm going to give everybody money. I'm going to stop the war. You know, all the stuff you hear, right? And he's saying I can do it better because I'm a computer.
Right.
I can handle 50,000 things at a time.
At a time.
Yeah.
And let's say this, all the hokey pokey that's going on in politics right now, maybe that's what we need. Who knows, man?
Yeah, you know, I mean, seriously, that's why at the last minute I wasn't gonna let it loose. I just said, you know, I wasn't really happy with the song. That's why, to be honest with you. And
Mhm.
then I just said, what the hell? What do I got to lose? Some people might find this amusing, so I
I
put it
think
out.
it's a great concept, man.
Yeah,
I like I said, man, I'm really excited that you're thinking about playing out again and stuff. And
yeah.
are you doing any recording at Charlie's place? I know you said you're doing some old stuff with the missiles over there. Any plans to maybe get out and play some venues in the near future, if you got
Yeah,
time?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. Maybe in the next few months or something, we might try to get out again. We did for a bit there, like a couple years ago, and then we kind of stopped, and I just started working on studio stuff. So I'm gonna finish up this song called "Together." That's like a space opera that I put together. So it's video and audio. And once I get that done, then I'm gonna write a couple new songs, and then probably after that, probably in like the next 4 to 6 months, try to get out and probably after the holidays, probably get out and play wherever we can. Right? I mean, the difference is it's not the same as it was years ago because there's not a lot of places to play originals at like there used to be. You could go everywhere. You know, there's all kinds of token lounges around. So there's not as many of those places, you know. It's a whole different thing now. You know, you got DJs and you got maybe some
Karaoke and
yeah, it's like it's
where do you
different.
get your inspiration? Where do you get your inspiration to write songs? What triggers you to come up with a song? Just life in general, or where do you get your inspiration at?
Yeah, you know, I think like all the great songwriters out there will say, you know, I just had this idea, like the Computer for President idea. So
Right.
it came up, and you know, it's stuff like that. You know, maybe something happens in a relationship, or maybe
Hmm.
I am thinking of some really cool, like "I Will Wait for You" is born out of the lyric. Normally, I
Uh-huh.
write the rhythm track first. That
Uh-huh.
one, I happen to say, well, what a cool song would be "I Will Wait for You." You know what I mean? And so I grabbed my guitar and I just started putting it together, right? And it's not for me. It's not one method that happens. It could be the lyrics first. It could be the music first. I wrote the song called "I Can't Live Without You," which is my favorite song, a ballad, and I wrote that on my guitar, right?
Okay.
And it just started coming together. And then I said, you know what? I got to put the lyrics to it. And then they just rolled out of my mouth one day when I was playing it, man. I mean, I go, oh,
Wow.
I can't live without you. You're talking about a girl, right? You can't live without her. A tear jerker. I go, this is perfect. So
Right
yeah, you
on.
know, there's not one way. It's just whatever pops up at the time when I grab my guitar and I just start playing around with it. And
What is your preference of guitar? What do you like to play?
well, I have the Peter Frampton electric that I love to play, and then my kids bought me a beautiful Les Paul, custom Les Paul with like a kind of a sunburst color, real red color, just beautiful for my birthday a few years ago. And so those are my two guitars. And then I have an acoustic guitar, which is actually one that John Oates gave me. It's a great guitar. He gave it to me as a present And
Man, you lead a just a incredible life, man. I could sit here and listen to you all day. My older brother, he had a '58 Les Paul Jr.
oh,
Um, it
oh, that's
was
worth
just
a
a
lot of money.
yeah. Well, a friend of mine when we were back in, I think we were probably in just getting out of high school. My mom's friend bought a house in Detroit, and she was first time she went up in the attic,
Right,
and that guitar was sitting in an alligator guitar case with a little alligator 12-inch head
right.
amplifier, 2 inches of dust on all of it, man. And she
Oh, yeah.
gave it to my mom for $100 back when I was in elementary school.
Oh,
I know. I
my
just
guitars were probably 15 grand. I don't even know. It's up there. It's worth a lot of money.
well, I don't know what happened to it. Freddie had quite a few guitars. He had like 20 guitars at one time. He had some gold tops and melody makers and a couple Fenders and stuff. And
Right.
over the years, they just all seemed to have gone away. I don't know where they went, but um, if I do a party next year at the Garden City Park, I usually do a big party. I'm thinking about doing one, and Charlie's always involved in it.
Right.
Maybe we could get you out there
Yeah.
if this all comes together, and maybe you do a couple acoustic songs or sit in with Charlie, or maybe even bring your
Yeah.
whole band out.
I'd totally be all over it, man. Is that the ones that off of like Middle Belt there? There's a park or something.
Yeah, Cherry Hill and Merriman Road. Yep.
Yeah,
We-
yeah. Oh, Merriman. Okay, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. I would. That would be a blast, man. Oh,
I honestly, I could sit here and talk with you all day, man, but I know you got to run and I want to watch the Lions game. And we're going to let you go, Joe. And thank you
all
so
right, buddy.
much for coming on my show. You made me a very happy guy today.
Hey, it's my pleasure. I'm here anytime you want me on or anything you need. Just give me a call, man. But thank you so much. And your show sounds so exciting, by the way.